Wait for a moment.
Hello， 大家好啊！今天咧會同大家介紹一個學校咧，就係呢個咧港灣學校喎。其實咧就係位於鴨脷洲一間國際學校嚟嘅，而且好歡迎咧6到18歲嘅朋友咧一齊去參與㗎。而且佢哋有好多課活動㗎，甚至可以揚帆出海添。今次咧我哋就嚟到我哋嘅會展當中咧，就係我哋嘅兒童優質教育博覽會上面咧，可以同大家一齊分享㗎喎。咁當然啦，就有咧好好嘅校長喺度啦 ，Blurton，Hello， 你好。咁當然亦都有 Ringo 喺度啦
，Hello。好，大家好，我係辰民爸爸啦。咁我問下校長第一條問題先喎。好多家長咧都希望咧小朋友咧揾到一間 happy school。嗱，咁但係咧喺 Harbour School 入邊咧，點樣可以令到小朋友真正好愉快地學習咧
？So, the Harbour School, THS, is an international primary and secondary school. And we're winning a lot of awards because both globally and locally, because we are being known for sort of having a much more modern way of teaching than a lot of the traditional schools. The school has three centers of excellence. The first one is a marine science center. So it's got a marine science laboratory that has a lot of aquaria and a lot of fish and a lot of marine animals, and also a touch tank so kids can actually touch the stingray and learn how to take care of the animals and get close to them and learn to love them. We also have a 50-foot sailboat called the Black Dolphin. The Black Dolphin is our 50-foot sailboat, and that serves as our outdoor classroom. So we can do a lot of things outdoors, science of course, but also art, math, even language, even poetry we can do on the Black Dolphin. And our third center of excellence is a huge educational makerspace called the Foundry. And that's where students can use design thinking to actually work to try to solve some of the world's biggest problems. And they can illustrate or expand things that they've learned in the classroom as well. So it's used for lots of different things. So all of those are used by students to create meaningful and lifelong learning types of experiences instead of using approaches that were used 100 years ago, like sit and listen to the teacher or just answer the questions at the end of the book and memorize them for a test. We have a very different approach to learning. We emphasize experiences and actions and explorations that teach students the skills and the knowledge that they're going to need in the future. We have 5 values at the Harbour School. 2 of them are life-worthy learning and redefining rigor. And that's kind of confusing, but the redefining rigor part is because we actually think it's much more difficult, much more rigorous to design, create, and deploy seaweed, for example, seaweed farms, than it is to just learn about seaweed and answer questions on a test. So they're actually learning a lot more. And it's life-worthy learning because the skills that they need for that, they're going to need their entire life. They're going to be using their entire life so they end up with much deeper and wider understanding of important content.
Wow, very good. Okay. Okay. 好啦，我哋都知道啦，好多家長都會擔心啦，就係咧學生同老師嘅比例啦，甚至係學生們咧佢本身咧學習嘅時候個心理質素嘅喎。咁其實咧學校方面咧又可以點樣處理咧
？Okay, you can answer the question. Please answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Question 3.
Question 3.
Question 3.
Oh.
This way.
Well.
Oh, yeah. It's okay.
Okay. Isn't that question 2?
No, this is question 3.
Okay. Well, when we are talking about having happy kids and having psychologically healthy kids, ability group approach in math and literacy is very important to students' well-being because there is nothing more debilitating than sitting for hours and being bored if you already know the content, or sitting and struggling if you have a topic that is very difficult.
Yeah.
So it's very important that kids learn at the appropriate level. We have a very comprehensive gifted program for kids who are advanced. We have some kids who are extremely advanced by 5 or 6 years even. And some are only 1 year advanced in math, and that's fine too. And then we also have a very strong learning support program for kids who have who struggle in a particular area in math or literacy. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and at the Harbor School, we sort of celebrate those differences and value those differences. Being invested in the individual, which is one of our values, also it means that we understand that every person is different, and kids can accept themselves better if they accept other people. I'm a psychologist, so I believe that psychological well-being is critical. Not only because it feels good. I mean, it does feel good, but that's not why it's so important. It's really, really important in school and in business, because people, when they're psychologically healthy and happy, they produce more, they do more, they learn more. And so that's true in the workplace, and it's also true in school. Right now we're facing a global mental health crisis, and especially after the pandemic, and school must be a place where students feel safe, excited, happy, productive. They're in school for 7 hours a day at least. Some schools much more. So school should be a place that strengthens the power and responsibility to change the world. If I can use an analogy, we all face many battles in our lifetime. And in each battle, we lose some mental health soldiers. So we have some of our soldiers of our army that don't make it through the battle. If children lose too many of those soldiers when they're little, then they don't have as good an army when they grow up. So they don't have the emotional strength to face the battles that they have to face later in life, like losing a job or losing a friend or having a fight with a spouse or failing a task or trying a new venture even. All of those things, they need a strong army. So our job as teachers and also as parents is to try to ensure that they have the strongest mental health army that they can going into their adulthood.
Wow, 非常之好啊！
It's very good. Okay, thank you. 我相信咧，好多一啲家長去睇嘅時候咧，你都會發現到其實本身咧校監係一個心理學家嚟嘅，即係佢不斷去灌輸就係話俾大家聽，就喺學校入邊學習唔係單單就係學術，係更重要我哋個開心啦、安全感啦等等嘅建立。咁所以咧，大家去了解間學校嘅時候咧，我諗係一個全方位嘅學習緊。好啦，我又想問下校長另一個問題咯，究竟咧喺有咩特色嘅課後活動咧，係幫助我哋學生係真係可以揾到佢嘅興趣啦，甚至乎專長同埋提升到佢自信呢？
Well, we hope that students explore their personal interests and talents and boost their self-confidence all day, not just after school. But we do have a number of extracurricular activities at our school. We call them C courses, school extension activities, and those are our after-school activities. And then we also have what we call FISH program, which is the Fully Immersive Scholars Holiday, which is basically our summer program and our during school breaks, we have the FISH program. And we always have the Centers of Excellence, the boat, the Foundry, and the Marine Science Center are always very popular for C courses and FISH program. But we also have lots of other stuff, from cooking to chess to debate, all kinds of different things, changes every time. So one thing that is important to note is that these C courses and FISH courses are open to children from other schools.
Oh, cool. 真係啊，其實咧好多時咧學生咧都未必咧喺嗰個年紀有頭緒，好靠學校咧去互相幫忙啦。其實學校亦都可以安排咧好多唔同類型嘅科目啦，甚至有一啲戶外活動都可以俾到學生，令到學生咧喺當中可以增強到自信嘅喎。好啦，跟住咧問下校長啦，究竟點樣可以培養到我哋嘅學生可以成為咗世界公民呢？
Okay, now you've hit on our fifth value. THS students are community oriented. We have an award-winning program called the Social Action and Sustainability Program. We call it SISP. And CISP introduces the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, all 17 of them across all grade levels. So kids at every grade level are learning about one or two of the SDGs. And we won the Hong Kong Green Council's UN SDG Achievement Awards. We won silver, but we won silver in the area of large corporations. So you can imagine the competition was extremely fierce for that prize. Think of all the large corporations in Hong Kong. So we won silver. We're also recognized as a caring school. We're also part of the Alliance for Sustainable Schools. So the students see that we practice what we preach. We really mean it. But in all grades, they don't just learn about the SDGs, they actively work to address them. So they are doing things that are actually addressing them. And it's important that they meet other people who are also addressing them. I think that lots of times we tell students all about the bad things that are happening in the world, but we don't tell them how many people are working to solve those problems. And so one of the strengths of the CISP program is that it invites a huge network of other people in to help address those problems. We also believe in what we call authentic production, which is when we do something or create something that actually really makes a difference in the world. So we have some things that we do that are just kind of to show a topic or a content. Like we have the third graders learn about early man and then they make stone tools. That's fine, but that's not authentic production. Authentic production is like building a school in Africa, which our students did. They created, designed, named, and funded a school in a children's hospital in Africa. And that's an example of authentic production. It really made a difference in people's lives. And those activities are especially satisfying because you feel like you made a difference. And you know you made a difference in somebody's life or in the earth. Right now, a current example that we have is we have a seaweed project that is going through all grade levels, so it's school-wide. It's important to know seaweed is a very helpful, very necessary plant for the environment. It's super, almost magical plant. And we have a program throughout the school. Just recently, our middle school students created seaweed farms and deployed 15 of them around the harbor in Hong Kong. So, and they used the boat, the Black Dolphin, to do that. So they've been monitoring the progress and they've been learning about how to grow seaweed in Hong Kong. And it's not always just experiences like the seaweed farms. Our fifth graders just last week had a global issues conference, which is one of our oldest traditions, and it's like a TED Talk, but these guys are 10 years old. So it's a TED Talk with 10-year-olds, a TED conference with 10-year-olds, and they are just magnificent. Every single time I learn something, and they spend the entire term in science and social studies class time preparing for the conference. And of course they learn about time management, they learn how to make a really good report, but they also have to do an action plan for all of those things. So it's a very, very big achievement. I think an important thing about the Harbor School is that we don't try to teach kids to be future responsible global citizens. We teach them that they're already responsible global citizens, and it's their responsibility to make a difference.
Thank you.
我相信咧，頭先咧校長校監咧喺個過程入邊講咗咧，其實我哋學校入邊咧好多一啲真實嘅一啲體驗啦，甚至有一個海草嘅計劃咧，係幫助學生咧點樣去保護環境啦，甚至喺個過程入邊咧會製造好多唔同嘅實驗體驗，令到學生一個過程入邊知道成為一個世界公民嘅重要性嘅。好啦，咁下一個問題咧，我又想問下校長喎，就係咩咧？學校咧好着重咧點樣培訓學生咧好多方面嘅喎，更重要係咩？點樣幫助喺學習規劃未來？點呢方面點樣幫佢哋呢？ Is it plan for the future?
Well, It's an interesting question because the world is changing. So the World Economic Forum and OECD and lots of other people have gotten together and sort of tried to decide what are the skills that people are going to need in the 21st century, which is to say now and in the future. And there are things like creativity, flexibility, collaboration, communication, presentation, critical thinking, self-direction, social skills. All of those things turn out to be the things that are really, really important. And those are the things that employers are saying that they need now and in the future. They need mentally healthy workers who can innovate, collaborate, and communicate.
Yeah.
And needless to say, having somebody sit down in a chair face forward, not talking and not moving is not enhancing their innovation, collaboration, and communication. So traditional school approach of telling kids to sit still, face front, be quiet, and be stressed is not the best approach. So we very highly prioritize those schools. We have two sort of areas of curricular emphasis. So one is social studies and history, and that's because 20 years from now, kids are not going to need to know a lot of facts. The computer will tell them facts, or their phone will tell them facts. So they don't need to memorize a lot of facts, but they do need to be able to contextualize those facts and put them in historical and cultural perspective. And for that, they need to know their own place in time and space, and that is social studies history. And they also need to know how to ask a question, answer a question, and present their data, and that's science. So we have a curricular emphasis in social studies, history, and science, and we also have a focus on visual presentation. And that's because it's becoming more and more important that people know how to present in so many different ways. So in virtual reality, filmmaking, drone photography, augmented reality, digital design, game creation, lots of other ways of presentation that just weren't around before. It's a whole new world.
That's good.
OK。好啦，當然啦，每一個嘅小朋友喺學習過程當中，我哋俾咧好多唔同嘅方向佢。最緊要就係有空間，因為始終咧小朋友需要咧一個好大嘅空間，只可以咧俾佢有更多嘅創造同埋創意嘅。當然咧學校可以培養，老師亦都可以培養得到佢嘅。咁啊，當然我哋最關心一樣嘢啦，就係點樣可以入到呢間學校咧，或者學校咧會唔會有啲準則咧，係需要我哋達到至可以入到呢間學校嘅咧？咁我即刻問下校長咯噃。
Okay, so because we are invested in the individual, and we understand that all kids and all families and all backgrounds and all interests and all talents are different, we have a huge variety of applicants. Some people who are extremely advanced, other people who are not, or advanced in a different area. And there's no one criterion that determines admissions. We have lots of different criteria. Honestly, we're looking for students who are going to add to the classroom mix in a positive way. So we look at the entire classroom as a whole, and we're also interested in families who believe in what we're doing and believe in our approach, excited about the school. We have an absolutely awesome group of parents, and so we would be asking that parents come and tour the school so that they can be sure that it's a good fit for them. And then also we like to invite the kids to come and visit for a day so that they can see a little bit more about what we're about and we can see more about them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. 非常之好啊！今日咧真係唔該晒，我哋咧有一個喺鴨脷洲當中嘅港灣學校咁好嘅國際學校，而且大家要記住啦，其實如果你想，亦都可以去到學校，親臨到學校當中咧去感受一下，因為咧其實校長係好歡迎大家一齊嚟參觀嘅喎。今日好多謝晒校長嚟到當中 ，thank you so much。好，我哋下次再同大家見面啦，拜拜。